Okay, so get yourself ready for your restorative practice. So if you've got a normal yoga mat, give yourself a bit of extra cushioning. Have a blanket, or this is like a big bath towel. Just gives you a bit more comfort, a bit more warmth. And if you need to, if you feel like, I mean, I know it's June, but it's quite cold at the moment, isn't it? So if you feel like you need an extra blanket to cover yourself with, then go for that. If you've got something to cover your eyes with, that's always pretty beneficial, just to keep the light out of your eyes. So restorative yoga relies on comfort, on warmth, and on darkness. So if you've got something to cover your eyes with, so like one of these eye pillows, then that is all the better. So a bolster underneath your knees, blocks for underneath your feet, and then a blanket for underneath your head, just supporting the back of your neck. And then just allow your body to just gently release into the floor. Don't be in a rush to be in your kind of ultimate position. Just feel how the body feels at first. Just observe how the body feels on the floor. This first couple of minutes is always the most blissful, I think, where you can finally lay down on the floor. Just listen to the breath. Just allow the body to become heavy. But at the same time as just that blissful relaxation that comes from stillness, at the same time, maybe you realize after a moment or two that perhaps you need to adjust for comfort. Maybe there's part of the body that doesn't feel quite ready to relax. Maybe as you lay on the floor, perhaps your lumbar doesn't feel supported. So just adjust. Don't be afraid to adjust for comfort, because our restorative practice relies on us being able to commit to relaxation. Sometimes I teach classes and people are constantly looking at their phones, although they're not supposed to in the classroom, but it really defeats the object of just spending an hour just to replenish the energy, whether it's a more physical class or a restorative class. We should commit to this hour of just pure relaxation, because your body and mind will thank you for it afterwards. So give yourself permission to relax. Give yourself permission to be here. Listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Just observe how the body is supported by the floor and the bolster and the blocks and the blanket. Consciously unhook the muscles of the arms and the legs. Surrendering to the straight line of the floor. Draw your attention into the soles of the feet, so that the skin of the soles of the feet becomes conscious. And then consciously relax the soles of your feet, just softening the muscle and the flesh and the skin. Draw your attention into the tops of your feet. And then consciously relax the skin and the muscle that covers the top of the foot. Draw your attention into your shins. Draw your attention into your shins. Just allowing the shin bones to sink into the calf muscle. Draw your consciousness into your knees and your thighs. And then draw your consciousness into your thighs. And then consciously release the thighs, keeping the breath soft, sinking the thighs into the backs of the legs. Release the shins into the calves, the fronts of the thighs into the backs of the thighs. And then draw your consciousness into the abdomen and above it, all the way up to the shoulders. Just relaxing around the abdomen and around the torso, just letting the shoulders relax, letting the neck soften and relax. Draw your focus into your shoulders and your neck, creeping down the arms into the bicep region, into the tricep region, into the forearm and the wrist. Draw the relaxation down into the shoulders and into the arms, and go with the biceps and triceps, allowing the forearms to sink into the ground. Breathing even deep inhalations and exhalations, listening to the breath, and using each exhalation to intensify the relaxation, the release of the muscles. Soften your neck. Release the neck into the floor. Soften the palms and the arms and the shoulders and the neck. Soften the muscles around the face. Okay, when you're ready to disturb yourself, just gently wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, just bring yourself back into this pose of basic relaxation. Bring your feet onto the bolster, just have your feet together and your knees apart. Sorry, that's the wrong way around. Feet apart, knees together. And then gently roll onto your side. And then stretch out the top leg, just come up into a seated position. Just hold onto your knees. Just observe the energy that you have released so far. Just the transformation of your energy just from that basic relaxation pose. We're going to do one of our side lying stretches, just to stretch out the shoulders, just to bring energy into the body. So have a bolster, an oblong bolster is better than a tubular bolster for this. If your tubular bolster is too big, tubular bolster does work, but it can feel quite big in the armpit region. So one of these thinner bolsters is probably better. Have a block for your head, and then just sit on your side, the knees together, with the knees bent, and then you just lengthen yourself out. The bolster is going to sit in the armpit chest region. You're going to bring your head onto the bolster, and then this arm that's on the floor, just in a little right angle, just to let that arm really relax. And then just stretch the top arm over your ear and let that arm rest. If there's stiffness in your shoulders and it's uncomfortable in your shoulder, then put a block underneath your hand. Just give yourself whatever you need to feel comfortable. So comfort is paramount with this practice. Once you feel that you're in the right position for your gentle side lying stretch, just allow the body to rest into the floor. Breathe evenly into both lungs. Even though the lung that's being supported by the bolster might feel a little harder to fill, nonetheless, just work to fill those lungs evenly. And then bring that top arm back onto your hip. Push your elbow into the floor and then come up into a seated position, just sitting in cross legs, just observing how your energy has changed through that pose, just letting it settle. And then just same pose, just coming onto the other side. So you keep your knees bent, lengthen your chest out along the bolster, so it's in the armpit chest region. The arm that's along the floor, just a little right angle with that arm, and then stretch the top arm over your ear. So as you know, as the sequence progresses, speak less and less so that you aren't spending all of your time listening. You can just spend the time in deep relaxation. Okay, bring that top arm back to your hip. Push your elbow into the floor and then come up into cross legs. Just observing the intense energy that comes from these deep relaxation poses. Just listen to the breath. Just observe your energy. Just allow it to settle and to even out between both sides of the body. Okay, so we're going to do a simple spinal twist. So bring your mat long ways like this. So it's really similar to the previous pose. You just have your knees bent in the same position, but this time you're going to lift your chest, sit close to the end of the bolster, lift up into the chest, turning the abdomen across, and then you just lengthen your spine along the bolster and rest your head on the side so that your chin is pointing in the same direction as the bent knees. Have your elbows wide enough apart so that you're not supporting your weight with your elbows. Just have them wide apart so that you can drape over the bolster. If this feels a little strong in your back, then just experiment with moving your knees away from the bolsters a little bit, or moving them up towards your elbows a little bit. Or you might want to put extra lift underneath your you might want to put another bolster on top of this bolster, or put some blocks underneath it. Just change the level of the bolster. If this doesn't feel good for your back at all, then just lay down on your back with the bolster supporting your back and your legs on the floor in the heart pose. So not all poses are right for everyone. So sometimes some poses just feel like a struggle, making it difficult to relax. So the effects of the pose become counteractive. So if you ever find a restorative pose that just isn't comfortable, then first of all, just address that discomfort. See if you can make yourself more comfortable. Give yourself more lift or less lift. Just move into the pose in a different way. But if that doesn't work, then don't suffer the pose. That's not the point of the practice. Don't style it out. Do a different pose instead. One that feels comfortable and bearable. Okay, push your hands underneath your shoulders. Just bring yourself up into a seated position. Again, just come into cross legs. Just observe the energy you released. And then just same pose, just opposite direction. So again, sit close to the seat, to the end of the bolster. Lift up into the chest. Elevate the chest along the bolster, and then rest your head on the other side, chin facing in the same direction as your knees. And then just allow yourself to release into the pose. Okay, push your hands under your shoulders. Just again, just push yourself up into a seated position. Just come back into cross legs. Just observing your energy. Just letting it settle, even out on both sides. And then when you're ready, just get your bolster for underneath your knees. Have a blanket for underneath your head and your neck. And just allow yourself to just come down onto the floor. So you can cover your eyes if you want, but I often prefer at this stage to just close my eyes. So you're not blocking out the light completely, because you're just bringing yourself just back into the space, but we're not in any rush to bring our consciousness back into the room. we can continue to just allow the body to relax into the floor. Give yourself the challenge of relaxation. Just bring your breath back into the pose. Just consciously filling the lungs from the bottom to the top and emptying your lungs from the top to the bottom. Just feel how, as you relax onto the floor, that your energy radiates out from your bones and into the muscles and into your organs and into the flesh and the skin. Use your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that feeling of energetic lightness down into the toes, into the fingers, and up into the top of the head. And when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, and then bend your knees. Bring your feet onto the bolster, have your feet apart, your knees together. Just resting your back into the floor. And then roll onto your right side, just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. And then just have your hands on your knees, lift up into your chest, bringing your hands into Namaste. Close your eyes, draw your breath in through your nose down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive health this afternoon, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the reclining poses bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside and send some of that positive energy out into the world. Gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Just connecting the index finger and the thumb. Just a gesture of wisdom and peacefulness that you can carry into the rest of your evening. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel like you've really revived yourself. Perhaps you feel like if you were a bit tired and lethargic before, you feel energized and lively. So have a good evening. Thank you very much for joining me.